Hi, welcome to this part of our how-to video series. What we're going to be looking at today is road bikes, and we're going to help you pick between the various different options. They're all going to be running on a general theme. They look pretty similar in that they've got a lightweight, efficient frame, a drop handlebar for the multiple hand positions, STI levers that combine the braking and shifting performance together, 700C wheels and relatively skinny tyres. The various options are there for different styles of road riding. It involves the distances covered, the conditions and what's going to provide the best performance for you. Next category we're going to look at is triathlon and time trial bikes. More specifically, the geometry on these is different. In road riding situations, you're quite often riding in a pack as part of a peloton group. In triathlons and time trial, normally you're riding as an individual, meaning that one of the greatest forces you need to overcome is the air resistance on your body. Therefore, these bikes are tailored to achieving the most aerodynamic position possible and enabling optimum pedalling efficiency in that position. Therefore, the bar setup is very different. A wider bar for braking and steering through corners and a central bar position for optimum efficiency aerodynamically and pedalling wise. It is possible to steer and change gear from this position. However, braking and more advanced steering through proper corners will be done on the outsides of the bar. These pads are for the elbows to provide comfort, and the bar reach length is normally adjustable from central points. The overall bike will be shorter in the top tube length, as where traditionally the hands would be on the bar, that's where the rider would position their elbows in the aerodynamic position. The rear end of the bike will feature the rear wheel as tightly in the frame as possible, as close to the bottom bracket as possible for optimum power. The seat tube angle will be significantly steeper to enable the rider to achieve optimum power in an aerodynamic position. Because of the different positioning of the seat tube, the saddle will need to be a different shape to accommodate the rider. Therefore, saddles will often be much wider and much more softly padded than what you'd see on a road bike. The nose will quite often be the softest part, as the rider will be using this section of the saddle quite significantly. Another key point to note on triathlon time trial bikes is, due to the aerodynamics being important, the wheels will be a deeper section, enabling them to cut through the air. The aerodynamics of the frame itself mean that sections of the bike will be extended or curved so that they will enable air to slip as smoothly as possible over the bike. In keeping with its racing road bike roots, the bike itself will feature same stiff optimum power transfer, bottom bracket and chainstay area, but overall the bike is tailored to a different need. Other features which indicate its purpose are hidden brakes to keep them out of the wind. This will also quite commonly feature on the rear brake, which may be hidden underneath the bottom bracket area. Gearing on some time trial bikes may be significantly larger to incorporate a higher speed. Generally, time trial and triathlon events are held on flatter ground than road cycling events, which need a gearing more easily adaptable to climbing. Tyre width is likely to be quite skinny for optimum rolling efficiency and lightweight. The final category we're going to look at today is single speed, fixed gear and track bikes. One of the significant features of these is that track bikes were often used on a cycling track, on a velodrome. More and more people have decided to take these to the roads for their simplicity and ease of maintenance. Requires very little as far as maintaining and servicing the bike, and by running a fixed gear it enables consistent braking with little or no maintenance to a physical brake. The handlebars themselves are even more curved and accentuated in comparison to a road bike, with almost no concession to riding on the tops. This is an aggressive position and used mostly on the track, as these bikes originated from there. This bike features a steel frame similar to a classic track bike, and also a downward facing quill stem to achieve an aggressive riding position. The saddle position in comparison to the drop bar will be quite significantly steep. The saddle will be quite high up. You may also find some single-speed track bikes being fitted with a short-width riser bar to achieve a more comfortable position. Chain sets will be simple, as they'll only feature a single ring, and dropouts will be horizontal to take up any slack in the chain. With women's cycling on the increase, manufacturers have started to take note and are now producing not just women's specific models that feature pink or purple, but actually taking some consideration into how the bike is spec'd and how it's going to fit the female cyclist. With this, we're going to have a quick look at what makes these bikes different from a regular unisex bike. First thing is the reach, from the saddle to the handlebars. This distance is going to be shorter, as proportionately women tend to have a longer leg and a shorter torso length for the same height. With this in mind, some unisex bikes can seem a little bit too far reaching for a specific height. Women's bikes should fit perfectly. Likewise, in proportion, women generally have narrower shoulders, and therefore front handlebar that you'll find on bikes will be spec'd in a slightly narrower width option. The drop of the handlebar, the physical curvature, will also be specifically shorter to enable a more comfortable and more appropriate riding position based on geometry. Brake levers will normally come spec'd with the additional spacers fitted, therefore shortening the reach between the handlebar and the lever. Saddle shape. As women have a different pelvic structure to a man, the saddle position and shape is different. Therefore, women's specific bikes will come with a women's specific saddle. Otherwise, componentry regarding brakes, drivetrain, the gears, stems, forks, frame materials and construction and wheel sets are all going to be similar, if not the same, with only graphic and colour options being slightly different. Also, what we're seeing now is that in respect of women's specific models, there are a much larger range from entry level up to high performance levels such as this bike. Overall, these subtle tweaks all add up to a better package for the woman cyclist. In summary, we've covered a few of the different types of road cycling bikes out there. The main two will be a traditional racing bike and a sportive bike, but as we've covered, some of the other options might be more suited to a specialist purpose. The Triathlon time trial bike is going to enable you to adopt that aerodynamic position for racing when you're not travelling in a pack, but you're racing against yourself and the wind. And finally, single speed track bikes that are there for simplicity, ease of maintenance and longevity. Also, if you prefer classic styling.